It's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Get that bag.
In the famous words of Gomer Powell, surprise, surprise. Hey, 2021 hadn't jumped off well for the so-called Flippinar, but we're here tonight. Show number 175 is finally happening. Got the full house in here. Luckily to make this a great value add opportunity. Before we get started, make sure you like and share this. If we have 100 people watching, should be 100 shares, 100 likes at least. Also, if you need a CRM, you need to manage your leads, you need to create follow-up, which turns into deals, which turns into paychecks, YouTube search Flipman CRM, or if you're on YouTube, simply tap the link in the description. You can test drive it today and see how it all works. So over to you, Adrian.
All right. Well, welcome. Good evening, everyone. As he said, the full house is here. Myself, Ty, and the beautiful Miss Renikia. Yeah, we started this year kind of rocking, man. Like, God,
it's been a lot going on.
It's been a lot going on. But yeah, I'm glad we're back here. This is the place where you ask your questions and we answer your questions in regards to wholesaling real estate with little to no cash or credit. And in fact, this thing has just turned into like pretty much wholesaling. We can answer questions about, like, he has their CRMs, other tools that you can use to build your business. So this year is going by fast. It's almost March. First quarter is done, but it's not too late. It's either going to be one day or day one. So you get to decide. But we are streaming live across all social media platforms, as Ty mentioned. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, so you can be notified anytime there's any new uploaded content. Rennie, how have you been?
I've been great. I think the year started off with, I guess everybody is just looking to get in the game and just, and flooding with business. But the year started off really great. Just want to make sure that, we're ramped up for the year, because I feel that this is going to be one of the best years in real estate. We take advantage of all these loan products out here. Real estate is at an all-time low in some areas. It's just a great year to really get in the game and begin to start your real estate portfolio. So I'm excited.
Right, you heard it. This is going to be a good year. Good year. Ty, is it Flippinar.com? Are we using that as the platform?
Flippinar.com. Flipping, remove the G, add an AR, Flippinar.com. You can get pushed to the front of the line with your questions. You can answer them, get them asked online here in the live stream on video with Renika and I. But Flippinar.com if you want to get pushed to the front of the line.
All right, there you have it. So we're going to jump right into TikTok. And TikTok, there's a question, and it is, what's up, Ty? Is there a way to still wholesale in Philadelphia?
Well, yeah, in Philadelphia, they're not requiring you to get a real estate license, but a wholesaler's license. So there's no test required. They just do a background check, from my understanding. I think it's a total of about $500 in fees, and boom,
wow.
Basically just getting a business license. That's basically what you're doing. So
wow.
that's nothing to even sneeze about. If your background may not check out, partner with someone background that will, or whatever. That's the only hurdle or whatever. So you're not required to take a test or anything like that or whatever. So they just want to know who's wholesaling. That's it.
Okay, so I have a question for all of those naysayers that say wholesaling is not legit. Then why would they make you get a license for it? It must tell you something, and it must be enough people beginning to, have enough income coming from this. They want to get a little piece of the pie, because that's typically how it is when they see individuals beginning to make a living off of something that they haven't had their hands in. So what can we do? Oh, we're gonna make you get a license. Give us $500 a year or something, you know.
Because wholesaling is nothing new under the sun. So all of a sudden, now we got to get licensed for it when everyone's been doing this for years, since the 80s, for years. So it's amazing how they move the needle when we began to learn about them.
Funny, like, so you just told me that realtor that you were trying to partner with just told you that it was illegal. So houseway.
Right.
Okay. So another question from Tweety Nicole is, when you buy a tax lien property, how long do you have to hold it? So that's going to vary from location to location.
Well, you're not. Well, yeah, the laws are going to be different from city to city because you're going to have tax certificates, tax deeds, and they may have another name for it. So you have to understand what your state, county laws are on the process or whatever, because either one or two things are going to happen. You're going to purchase a tax certificate, and the person redeems it, and they have to pay you a certain amount of interest on it, maybe even some repairs or something you've done to it or whatever, if that's all recorded. Or they never redeem it, and it's basically, I guess, in a sense, a foreclosure, and you get a tax deed. Now, you still may have to take another step to actually get a warranty deed, and they call that quieting the title, a quiet title. But that, again, that's how it works in Alabama. Somewhere else, it may not be as complicated, or it may be even more complicated. So part of your research is understanding your process. The simple thing you can do is first just simply go to YouTube. How does the tax lien process work in Maryland or whatever? Probably going to be someone there explaining it. Or you can simply truck down to the county courthouse. Hopefully you'll catch someone that's in a customer service mood and they explain it to you. And you might not always get that with government workers. Or you can just simply go to the county website, and they're going to lay out, the state website, and they're going to lay out the process to you. So you just got to do research on your market to see at what entry point and what exit point you want to use to take advantage of those types of deals. What you got, baby girl?
I couldn't say it better. I think I said it. It all boils down to each county on how long you have to hold it, and that process of redeeming the title. Sometimes you can buy the deed and there's no redeem. You buy the deed and you got full access to that property. So you will have to get involved with your county and the state that property sits in, so you can know the laws of that particular county and state.
All right. I didn't do it at the beginning, but let's do a little shout out. Imagine It Investment Group. Hi. Rich Felice Palocho, Mindset Property Solutions. Preston, we see you. Eric Carney says hello to the Flippanthropist. It ties me up every time. And good day, Rennie the Pretty. Tangela, Valley Forest, Big Boy, Mindset, Sharonda, and Byron. I see you guys. Fifth one, I see you there as well. And we have a few on, let's see here. David Gomez, T. Sandage. Oh, that's me. Oh, I'm going to say Adria. I see the rest of you guys on Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you post those questions. And don't forget, you can go to flippinar.com to join us live and ask your question yourself. All right. So Big Boy Music Group says, what kind of contract would work better than a JV contract for two wholesalers who want to partner?
Well, if you're doing it on individual deals, which that's what I assume you mean, and not an actual partnership on all deals, I'm assuming, yeah, I'd use purchase and sales agreement. If I'm on the buyer side of it, I'm still using the purchase and sales agreement with the wholesaler. He and I are just going to either agree on a price, or he's going to tell me how much he has on the contract for, and that's what I'll put it on the contract with him for. Or if I'm on the seller side, same thing or whatever. So that's me. Some people use the JV contracts. I've been advised by attorneys it really probably wouldn't stand up in court or whatever. You want to either be on the purchase and sales agreement and or option agreement. Put yourself in the chain of command of the actual transaction with what's solid, which is normally a purchase and sales agreement, or as I said, an option agreement. What do you think?
I really agree. It can get tricky. Sometimes there are like 3-4 wholesalers in the middle. And I think at that point in time, it just, would you create 4 or 5 different contracts? I think at that point in time, maybe create some type of agreement within all the wholesalers sign off on it. to determine the compensation out of this transaction. But as I said, I think the best practice, if you're just co-wholesaling it and another wholesaler is actually bringing you the deal, I wouldn't necessarily do a JV. I will like Todd stated, put yourself on the contract. So you want to know what is the maximum number, a maximum price that JV partner wants you to bring. If it's $80,000, anything above that $80,000 is yours. So you put it on the contract with that JV partner at 80, and that allows you to be in the chain of transaction and having your name executed on the purchase and sales agreement. But if you did do a JV agreement, I mean, it's, if y'all sign off on it, notarize it, or whatever the case may be, so you can determine what is your compensation out of that profit margin between all those parties. It works.
All right. Thank you for answering that, guys. Vanna and Anye, I see you in QP. Yes, we do answer questions from TikTok. I will ask yours now. What do I do after the seller just signed off today? So for you guys that are just starting out, good question. Seller signed, you have something under contract. What do I do now?
Okay. I mean, that's a good question. I can run it down and Todd could add in too. So you just executed your contract. I think at that moment, you should have already did some type of due diligence during that moment of execution. So after you execute, you may have you want to work those due diligence, that due diligence period. Sometimes you're dealing with another wholesaler. They may not even allow you to put a due diligence period in there. So you have to execute that contract. And once you execute that contract, you will need to go into send both of those contracts to your closing attorney so they can begin to pull title and prepare the closing documents. If you need to get financed, once you execute that contract, you want to submit that contract to that financer and begin that loan process. If you already have cash, you just want to submit both of those contracts. When I say both, that's the contract between the original homeowner and you, and then which I call the AB contract, and then there's a BC contract, which you're assigning that contract to the end buyer. I'll send both of those contracts to the closing attorney so they can begin to run title and prepare the closing documents. What do you say?
Well, yeah, she was saying whenever she gets a property under contract, what's next with the seller? Yeah, it's time to find a buyer if you don't already have one for it. So you're going to market your property. Some common places most people market: Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, Craigslist. You want to reach out to other wholesalers. You want to put out bandit signs in the area, house for sale, whatever the price is, cheap, phone number, call or text. You're going to reach out to real estate agents that deal with investors in that area. You're going to definitely, real groups are not really meeting that much now, but their websites and Facebook groups are still available. So you're going to post there and make network in those situations. So with all of that going on, you should be able to move it if it's an opportunity, if it's a great deal or whatever. If you're doing all of that activity and you don't move it, then you probably don't have a great deal. You didn't negotiate a price that fits the condition of that property in the area as far as the number. So but that's the next step, is to find a buyer for it.
Right. I completely skipped that, but that's definitely the next step. When you send any contract to anybody, you definitely want to find that end buyer.
Yeah.
Okay, so Willa Johnson says, I'm asking because I see places that look abandoned for years. How do I find out about the property?
Good question. I started off. So you found a property, you went driving for dollars. That's really what driving for dollars is that we go into these neighborhoods, we drive in these neighborhoods, we're looking for houses that just look abandoned. They, grass may be growing up and it needs to be cut. You may see stickers and violations and things like that on the door. It may be boarded up. So you're looking for that. That's called driving for dollars. So when you're driving for dollars, one of the things you want to do is take that address down. You want to immediately go to the property records of where that address sits. And that property record is going to tell you exactly who owns that property, and also going to tell you what their address is. And if their mailing address is different from the property address, then that's probably where they live or where they're stuff in their mail. So you just want to send them a yellow letter. or postcard. And Ty has a very good postcard service. You can send them a yellow letter or postcard, or you can take it a step farther and skip trace the homeowner and see if you can find their phone number. You can call them immediately and see if they want to sell their property. So that's pretty much what you want to do. There's also a app called Home Snap. So when I'm out driving for dollars, I'm in neighborhoods, I'll just put that, I'll take a picture using that app, and that app is going to give me all the information on that property, and it's going to be able to pull the comps and things around that. So if I'm out, I'll probably look at that app really quickly just so I can get some quick back of the envelope details of the property, but then also go to the property records as well, or where that property sits. What do you say, Tom?
Yeah, if there's a property just been sitting there vacant, as she said, number one, you got to figure out what the address is. Next step is you got to figure out who owns it. So you can use the county website. Well, you know what? Let me just show people how to find the county website. It's a website you can go to. Let me do share screen here. Hold on, let me pull it up first. All right, so share screen. Share screen. Oh, so they got the video file here now. So let me do the whole thing here. So let me remove this. All right, so so you all see this, right? So what you do is you go to it's Net R online. I don't even know what is that. What is that?
Net
R.
Realty.
It just say Net R online.
Yeah, that's it. Net R online.
Okay. All right. So so you go to public records, you choose your state, right? And choose Alabama, that's where I am. Then you choose the county, we'll choose Jefferson, we'll choose the Birmingham cutoff. And then here you go, and I know in my state, you go to the tax collector's website. You may have to try all of these, right? You know, to figure it out, because a lot of these websites are not user friendly. And here you go down here, and then you just put in either the person's name first in this website, last name. Yours will look totally different. I've been doing this since 2003. They have not changed this website since 2003. This is what the tax dollars are paying for. Now, we know the internet has advanced dramatically since 2003. This has not changed since 2003. So you put the address in, and boom, it'll pull up that information. Let me see if I can just pull up 11232 18th place. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, that's the first deal I ever did. I just can remember that address. So boom, that's the information. So once I have that, now the owner, their mailing address and the property address are the same, but a lot of times on vacant houses, they're not the same. And so that's what you would use, is their actual mailing address and their name to skip trace that information. So hopefully that makes sense. So you go to Net R online, and voila.
Wow.
All right, guys, I did put that in the chat box across Instagram, TikTok, and it should have went to Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. But that was Net R online. Lanice, what's up? Ty, Big Boy Music Group wants to know, what's the name of the promotional tent for back window marketing?
Oh, it's called Window Perf.
Oh, okay.
Window Perf. Yeah.
Oh, the signs with like the little dots in it.
Yeah, but you can see out when you're inside the car. You can see outside of it. They just can't. Well, they can. You know, it's depending on how hard they look and depending on what's on there. They can't see on the inside. They just have whatever your advertisement is on the window. But it's called Window Perf. Now, when it rains, you can't see out of it. So just keep that in mind, or whatever. The water, if it gets wet, let me just say that. So what's normal is rain. So
the rain,
but it's called Window Perf.
Yeah. Okay. So
because and just by him bringing that up, which is good. A lot of people, I'm not putting that on my crossfire or whatever. But like when I had a what did I have, a Mazda Millennia, and I put we buy houses in the back. That window perf on mine. I didn't care. What I'm saying? And we buy houses and a phone number on there. Because when it like people buy magnets put on the side of their car, they may see it or may not. But if it's in the back window, you force them to see it. I don't care if they're going 70 miles an hour, well, 80 or 90 or 100. You force people that in the rear of you to see your message or whatever. So hey, make that decision. One deal could pay for that car, 10 of them just like it or whatever. So you make that call.
All right, guys.
And that's perf, P-E-R-F?
Yeah, P-E-R-F. Yeah, window perf. Yeah. Any sign shop will know what it is. So.
Okay, so Nick Campo wants to know, what is the amount you normally put down for earnest money? Woo! This is a stickler here because we'll say, hey, as little as $10, but you have to be reasonable, right? Depending on the deal.
Yeah, depending on who you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? I've done $1 before. I've actually done $0. I'm not going to advise that, but I've done $1 before. I've put $10 in there, and guess what? They start pulling out $10. And I'm like, nah, I'm getting you. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be held in escrow with a title company or whatever. So anyway, normally now, I just put $100 on there, just period.
Minimally. Yeah.
Minimum.
If you're dealing with a realtor, it's gonna be minimum 500.
Yeah, it's gonna be minimum 500. Yeah, but if you're dealing with Joe Blow, the owner, it's 100. But if you're dealing with real estate, they just a whole nother ball game. 500, they really gonna frown on that.
Right.
They really want 1,000 minimum. Depending on how much the house is. You're talking 400,000 or 500,000. They may be looking for 2,500 to 5,000. It just depends. So, but remember, there's no law to say how much it is. You can do a penny, just whatever form of consideration or whatever. Just in the realtor word, which I advise newbies not to dwell in starting out because there's too many moving parts there that you're not just going to be understand or whatever. But they normally, like you say, they'll do 500, but they normally gonna frown on that. Or they go at least want 1,000 or whatever. So, but again, it's all negotiable. There's no law on how much it has to be. What do you think, Renee?
No, I agree 1,000%. It really depends on who you're dealing with. But just always know you're dealing with a real estate agent, minimally, as I say, 500 to 1,000. But when you're dealing with just a homeowner, they don't really understand the importance of that earnest money. So you can almost get away with $100 earnest money, and they're happy with that, and you'll go to the closing table. So just vet out and feel the homeowner or who's selling that property, and that will kind of determine what you can do and what you can't do.
All right.
But don't start off too high, because if they willing to step 100, why throw 1,000 out there?
Okay, so piggybacking off that question, Ollie says, as far as earnest money deposit for the seller, I know you say don't worry about the title until you get the buyer. Do you just bring the earnest money before closing to the buyer's title or at closing? Okay, so I think same question. Yeah, you address that. Like sometimes it never even exchanges hands, but it is written into the contract. And when you get to the table and the big money transpires or whatever the case may be, that earnest money deposit is probably just chump change. Don't even worry about that. I doubt if you give them a $20,000 check, they're gonna ask you, what about that $10 though?
I've had that to happen.
What?
Yes. I've had that.
Earnest money should be in the 25,000.
Yeah.
But that does happen though, where you forget to escrow your earnest money, you still get to the closing table. But then there's some that's looking for that earnest money. and they want to verify that it is escrow with the attorney.
Really? What's up with that $10 stuff? Okay.
Right. Yeah. The attorney said it's not there.
Okay, so KJ wants to know how many properties is a good amount when pulling a list. They pulled a list of 100 properties and got no leads. So what's the number?
Number one, what did you do with the list? Was it cold called or was it direct mail? Was it text message? But with any of those, that's a very small amount. Very small amount. And then I don't even what criteria did you use? All of that'll factor in also. You know what I'm saying? That's just a hard question to answer without knowing, some of those factors. But I do know 100 is a very small list or whatever. So.
All right. Okay. BJ, What's up? I see you. Damar, Ali, Lanice. Yeah, Lanice is answering questions in that for us. BT, Carla. See you all. Stephanie, Damon. Thank you for joining us tonight. And guys, really, nobody wants to go to flippinar.com to ask your own question. I mean, like for real, for real. So make sure you guys go to flippinar.com and you can join us live on the show. Okay, so we were talking earlier when we first started, when I mentioned this is the place where you ask questions in regards to wholesaling, little cash, no credit. But I said we kind of spanned out a little further than that. We cover more than that sometimes. And some of our listeners say, hey, I don't want to wholesale. I want to buy it. I want to flip. I want to do what they do on TV. So
Do it.
where can I get some money
Oh,
for
here
that?
we go. I'm sorry, I took it down.
Where can I get some money for that? So
Lay it down to them. Let them do it. Do it.
Yes. You know, so
how can you help?
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that layup right there. But we talk about buying and selling real estate with absolutely no money, which is the ability to buy and sell real estate with absolutely no money, which is a real concept for wholesaling. But then it gets to a point where you may want to take that real estate business to the next level. You want to hold properties and build residual income. You may want to do some fix and flip, and as she said, you may want to begin to do what you see on HGTV, and that's when you need financing. So my company provide residential and commercial financing. We're able to finance your property up to 90% of the purchase and provide 100% of your rehab. We also have like down payment assistance, which I call gap funding, which allows you to leverage your credit up to $150,000 to help offset some of the expenses that's associated with doing your fix and flips and buying homes in your new construction. So, but if you are interested in any of those financing options on how to finance a fix and flip, it's very simple. We do not require any financial documents, so no tax returns, no income verification, no pay stubs. In most cases, we don't want to see bank statements either. And your money do not have to be sourced or seasoned for months. So the entry level will be able to really get in the game and start your fix and flip is there, and it's very, very simple for you to be able to begin to take your real estate portfolio to the next level.
All right, guys.
Boom.
There you have it. It's fundfinancedeal.com, and she's available all across all social media platforms. We will put that up later before we end the evening, so don't fret. You'll still have the opportunity to get that information and jot it down. Or, as always, you can go back and watch this video about 27 minutes in and hear the replay of that as well. Now, maybe I confused some people when I said you were talking about Philly and they require the license of sorts. And I said that should answer all the naysayers' questions about it being illegal. So Roma Nice said, what states consider wholesaling illegal? I didn't really say that. None. But there's different processes that you have to go through in some places. I know. So Renikia, so I guess you would consider like Illinois will have a different process that you have to go through.
Well, you need a license in Illinois or a broker's license, and in Kansas you need a real estate license. In the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you need a wholesaler's license, but there's no test required. It's more like getting a business license.
Right, but wholesaling as general is not illegal anywhere.
Right, the wholesale technique is not nothing new on the sun. You can wholesale anything. That's what drop shipping is. Walmart right now wholesale everything that's on their shelves. At the end of the day, the wholesale technique is not illegal. All we're taking is that wholesale technique where you can wholesale a car, you can wholesale products, you can drop ship. We're taking that same technique and we're just wholesaling houses. So the process of wholesaling is not an illegal process. However, these states are beginning to see that we're just out here making a lot of money behind this. And of course, they just want to put those parameters in place to make sure that they are eating off what it is that we all are making out here as well. But it's the concept of wholesaling is not illegal at all.
At all.
And you're signing a contract, which you have all the rights and ability to sign the contract higher and make the in-between. All
right, there you have it. Shaq Smith, from West Side D-Town. Thank you for joining us. Always a faithful listener and joining us on Thursdays.
And shout out to folks in Texas. Some people probably not watching this, but the ones that are,
Yeah,
hey, it's real out there.
yeah, that's real.
Think
That's scary out there.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing, man.
Yeah,
That's
scary.
Oof.
We
I was
tripping
moaning-
over
I-
the ice.
I was moaning and groaning Tuesday because I then got in my mind in the snow. I was going to drive to the Waffle House and got there and didn't do my hash bound right. The grits were lumpy. I said, oh, I done risked my life.
It's snowing out there in Alabama?
Hey, I done risked my life and limb for this crap.
No.
Did y'all have snow right now in Alabama?
No, that was Tuesday. It was all gone by 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? Okay.
It's no Tuesday. I woke up like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, it snowed, but it was all gone by 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay. They're definitely praying for Texas. I pray for your safety, your health out there. That's tough.
Yeah, we don't know what to do around here, especially in Alabama. We can shut the school down for 2 days. It's a state of emergency, and it's black ice. That's what we got. Ice, some icicles. Well, we did have snow that stuck overnight. It did snow, but man, it's nothing to stop life.
Right.
Okay, let's go to Hyper Zombie. Okay. What do you do if you can't find a buyer in time for my seller if I'm already in a contract? And how can I find buyers fast? So I know we normally say we can't really give you too much info because that's not enough information that you gave. We don't know the deal, the numbers, how much your contract, how long you've had it or anything like that. But I know we also often say that if you're having difficulty finding a buyer, you might want to reevaluate your numbers. So how would you answer that question for him?
Well, I guess we had to take it from a you hadn't been putting things up there. We have to take it assuming it's a deal. So go from there, Renika. We're assuming it's a deal. So a great deal.
Okay. So first of all, if you run out of time, it's all about your due diligence. So if you need more time, you want to get ahead of it, contact that homeowner and tell them, hey, I just need a few more days in due diligence. You want to sign off on that. But if they don't give you that time to extend your due diligence because you haven't found a buyer, you want to completely back out of that contract so you can get your earnest money back. Once your due diligence period ends, your earnest money is forfeit. So you want to stay within your due diligence period as you finding that buyer. When it comes to finding buyers, I don't think it's a fast process, but I think there is, there is a process of just finding buyers. However, if you have a great deal, you want to put it out there in front of investors that is looking in your area, contacting other, and I'll just throw some out there. And I know Ty has a lot of options too, but contacting some of the other wholesalers that in the area as well, and giving that and submitting your marketing or that particular property over to them to see if it fits anyone in their network. So that's one of the ways I overly use everyone's network, because it's easier if it's just me and I have a property, but if I know 20 wholesalers, that means every wholesaler, there's probably 10 buyers that every wholesaler knows. So I end up tapping into their network, which can speed up being able to find a buyer as well. So that's one of the things that I do very effectively, is just tapping into other wholesalers network and see if I can move my deal through them.
Yeah, I'm gonna just show you on screen really quick. Also, one of the simple things that people can do is remove that. Is just go to Google. Sell my house fast. I'm not gonna use Birmingham. I'll use Memphis. Memphis 10. Boom. All right. This guy right here is paying a lot of money to be right here. This guy right here is paying a lot of money to be right here.
That's a good gym, huh?
That's Redfin, so you know what that is. So this guy right here is paying a lot of money to be right here. Now this cat right here has figured out how to perfect the SEO side of the game. So he's basically here for free. Everybody here, right here, are players normally going to be in that market. Look at that 901 home buyers. They figured it out. You know what I'm saying? Without paying for it. So now this next group down here at the bottom, Earnest, I think that may be a national brand, but I would still reach out to them. Here's another guy, Dave. Oh, that's Dave Ramsey. Sell to, what does it say? Sell to Swift. I guess that's one I'm right there. Boom. So now you go to the next page. Might be some of the same people, but it's going to, the first 2 or 3 pages are normally going to be players in your market or whatever. Don't sleep on that, because I'm telling you, because I do it myself. They spend a lot of money to be on these in this first 3 or this last 3 or whatever. So if you didn't know that, now you know.
That's good. That's a gem. That is a gem.
All right, there you have it. Y'all on this EMD today. Yeah. Okay. So the question is from Dave Forts, and it's, when you're wholesaling with a real estate agent, how do you pay the EMD when you don't have the EMD? So what are some creative ways? I know we often talk about partnering with somebody else. So, hey, let me borrow this $500, 30 days. I'll double down on it. I mean, there's ways around it, right? So
right. One of the things, being a realtor, one of the things, I mean, I've been on all sides of that table. But one of the things that you can kind of do, when you do business with a real estate agent, they're not looking for a 10-day closing. Most of the likely, it's a normal, on average, 30-day closing or things of that nature. So you're able to have a 7-10-day due diligence period in there. And one of the things that I always allow my clients to do, and one thing I do myself, is that I'd rather not exchange earnest money until I know if I'm going to keep this property to the end of my due diligence. And so at the end of your due diligence, you should have already identified a buyer, to come in who will offset that earnest money, because they would have to put up that earnest money. So that's one of the ways to try to just stretch that earnest money payment out into the end of your due diligence period. Because I mean, what can they say? You know, I mean, hey, I'll get it to you tomorrow. You know, whatever the case may be. So that's just one of the ways. So it helps you to wait on that end buyer and allow that end buyer to pull up that money as well.
Yeah, she basically laid it down for you. What you can do is, like you say, when you're setting up your contract, you may do a 10-day due diligence period, or 14 days. You maybe even ask for 21 days. It's all negotiable or whatever. And you're going to put the earnest money up after the due diligence period. So if you say if it's 14 days, on that 12th day, you look like you're going to get a buyer, you send a mutual release or cancellation of agreement. You're out or whatever. Again, you can host. Now, one of the other hurdles is that most agents are going to want proof of funds. They'll do that, but they're going to want proof of funds. You know what I'm saying? See, if they know you got the money, then they might, they'll be more in tune to let the earnest money slide until after the due diligence period. Most of them, if you can't prove you can pay for it, it ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying?
That's so true. You gotta have one or the other.
Yeah, so, but again, everything that goes, I'm just letting you know, if you can't show that proof of funds, that earnest money delay is probably not going to even matter anyway, because they're not going to probably want to work with you or whatever. So
what's that website, Tom?
Which one? Oh,
the proof of funds.
On the proof of funds? realpof.com. Now, I don't know if there are any free proof of funds out there, period, or whatever. So, but the one that I'm associated and affiliated with, and I've used over the years, you can go to realpof.com, just follow the instruction. And what I'm saying is realpof.com or whatever. I'm surprised I don't have a banner for it, but anyway. But again, I always just advise newbies, man. If you're asking that question, you don't need to be dealing with real estate agents. Everybody wants that, what appears to be that low-hanging fruit, because they're not either too lazy to do the other stuff that we preach to you to do. I've been doing this 18 years and don't target properties that are listed with realtors. Why? I'm not saying you can't do it, and I know how to do it, and I don't do it. It's just better deals out there. Again, you can do it, but if you're asking that question, you probably don't need to do it.
Right. And then there's more hurdles. I mean, it's public records, so there's no buyer empire that's going to buy a property, not Google it. And so as soon as they start doing their due diligence, they're going to see the listing. If that listing is out there and it's less than what you're selling it for, you got a problem. So they're going to contact that real estate agent directly. And, so it's going to cause more problems in your deal.
No problem. Now, again, if you've already established with a buyer, you got what I call a lazy buyer. They don't want to do nothing, but they just got some money. They ain't giving it to you. But when you bring the property numbers work for them, boom, they ain't going to do no research outside of just, hey, okay, it can be worth this. I put this in it. Boom. Okay. If you could find that type of buyer, the world is yours. I'm just telling most people are not that frivolous with their money or whatever. They're going to do their due diligence before they fill it. And you haven't found something that they can't find themselves. One of the reasons why wholesalers are valuable is because we find stuff that they didn't know existed.
Exactly.
Now, again, back up. You can do it, but you have to know what you're doing dealing with an agent. That's the only thing I'm saying. But if you're asking that question, you don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But if you want to go down that rabbit hole, I actually have a recent video I did, how to wholesale houses using realtors, and put Flipman behind it in the search on YouTube. I'm giving you the shovel to go down that rabbit hole.
Dig your hole. Dig your hole. Okay. So greatly appreciate that answer there. Stephanie Cage. Oh, hey, what's up? You're just talking in the chat there. I'm sorry about that. Let's see here. This is from First Freedom Property. It says, I saw on your contract video that you have two contracts, one for the seller and one for the buyer. Correct. Is the wording any different? No. Also, is the assignment contract separate? So in using the one-page contract that Ty has been using since the beginning of his wholesaling career, which is available to each and every one of you on dealulator.com, there is a to B, B to C, as we like to make it, simply put. Contract between you and seller, contract between you and buyer. It's the same contract, right?
Absolutely.
It could be different, but for the most part, it's the same. And what about the assignment contract?
Well, some title companies and attorneys, even they won't do the deal unless an assignment agreement is in place, right? It's less of those than the other, but some of them, they just not going to do it unless that document is in place. So if that's the case, that's just a Google search away. There's plenty of templates out there or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If they require that you and the buyer actually have an assignment agreement amongst each other, then boom, there it is, whatever. So, but again, a lot of attorneys, it just needs to be explained what's happened. I've had them to only present the assignment at the closing table that they've created, and I just sign it. And that's rare to happen, but but again, it's just a Google search. There's plenty of real estate assignment contracts out there if you need one or whatever. It's just not the way that I do it, and Renika doesn't do it that way. That, we're going to present prices, not our assignment fee. They're negotiating our assignment fee, but they're not knowingly negotiating our assignment fee. We may have it in contract for $1 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And, and we put a price out there, $95,000. He said he'll pay $87,000. Hell, he think he got a great deal, and he does because it fits what he's doing. So because I'm about to make $86,999.
Exactly. Exactly. And trust me, when they see that assignment fee, knowing that you haven't put any work in it, they will always try to negotiate you down.
Yeah.
They'll always try to count your pockets. So that's one of the reasons why we use two purchase and sales agreement. And the most important piece is that both purchase and sales agreement has an assignment clause in it. So it allows me to assign the contract to another buyer without having to use the assignment contract.
Okay. So Mythical Cyan wants to know, when a seller owes a mortgage and taxes, how does a seller move forward with the deal? Should you move on to another deal? But that's not necessarily so, because as if the numbers make sense, the numbers make sense, right?
Right. Absolutely. So if someone owes a mortgage, the purchase price has to be somewhere above that. If it's not, then that seller will need to bring that difference to the table. If he's not able to bring that difference to the table, then he probably wouldn't want to sell it, or it would be kind of a short sale because he's probably asking for more than what the property is worth. But that most likely your purchase price will be above. Not necessarily taxes, that's something separate, but it'd be above the mortgage. And if it's not above the mortgage, then that seller must bring that difference to the table. Or if he's not able to bring that difference to the table, he's actually trying to sell it higher than what it's really worth, then it becomes more of a short sale thing, you know, or he just hold on to it.
Yeah, exactly. So just to give some numbers to make sense, and I know it confuses people, I'm not sure why. Just like with a car, if you're going to trade in a car and you're upside down, you know, they'll do it a lot of times because they're going to tack on that difference onto the new financing or whatever. But ideally, you would like for your car to have some equity in it, meaning you owe less than what it's worth. And so now, say if you, I don't know, the car's worth 15, but you only owe 5, then that 10,000 will go toward, if they gave you that trade-in value of 15, toward the new car, right? Mm-hmm. So with a house, if we'll just say the house is worth 200,000 and they owe 180,000 with mortgage and taxes and everything. Well, number one, that's not going to be a deal for wholesaling, right? Mm-hmm. But if the house is worth 200 and they owe 70 with everything, and they're willing to take 100,000, and that number works for you. So now that means that whenever we go to the closing table, that 100,000 will cover that 70,000 that they owe, which will be taken care of at the closing table, and they get the difference between 100,000 and 70,000, which is 30,000. So your price that works for you just simply needs to cover what they owe, assuming they will accept that price. So it doesn't matter what they owe as long as it's less than the number that works for you and they're willing to accept it. As long as I've been doing as many deals I've done, I only had one person to bring money to the table to cover the balance. And it was only like $2,500. It was on like a $300,000 house. I think we were getting it at 200. She had to bring $2,500 to the table to make up the difference or the payoff. But you have a better chance. I guess I would have won. You have a better chance of winning the Georgia, Florida, and Mississippi lottery at the same time for that to happen to you. We're not talking Powerball. so normally, and most people know when they're negotiating with you, they're going to give you a price that covers what they think they owe. They might not know the exact number, but they'll have an approximation of what they think they owe. Now, I recently, was that in 2020? Yeah, that was in 2020. We had this lady, and I just knew this sounded too good to be true. She said she wanted $10,000 for this house. It was a hoarder, right? The house was a hoarder situation. So I could justify in my mind it was definitely only worth $10,000, but it was in like $100,000 neighborhood. But it was just stuff in there. The house really wasn't in bad condition. She just had a lot of stuff, right? And so whenever I was excited. The guy had somebody that was going to pay 40 for it. I would pick up 30. I think I was going to split it with another guy or whatever. And so we did the title work, and the title company say, well, it looks like they had a recent mortgage on it. They probably owe around 60,000. I said, huh? No, she said she don't, no. Well, she actually never did say she didn't owe anything. I just assumed that. So when we talked to her, she was like, yeah, no, I mean, like, we're going to pay that off and I want 10,000 more.
Oh, no. Yeah, still.
She really wanted 70,000.
But she missed out. She missed a very important piece to the conversation.
No, she did.
$60,000 mortgage is a very important piece of the puzzle.
70,000 for a house, 60 to pay it off, and the other 10 in her pocket. That's what she really wanted. But that rarely happens. That rarely. And that was my fault. Well, it wasn't my deal, of somebody else's deal. So I assume that question had already been asked or whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Do you owe anything on the house or whatever? So anyway.
And that's a good question to ask, especially, you know, you in those newer in neighborhoods where it's just it's not a dilapidated property. It's it's a property that maybe someone lives there. But those are questions you want to ask. And you also want to ask if they have any liens and things of that nature against it as well. So to answer your question about the taxes, you get to the closing table, you want to ask them up front. And to me, I think everyone knows if they owe back taxes and liens and stuff. But sometimes they try to act like they don't, or they don't know that they have these liens and things against the house. So it's all going to come out in the title work. And then it's in cases like that, and sometimes there's more liens on it than the profit that seller is getting, and somebody got to pay it. And you have to determine, is it worth your deal to help them pay some of their liens or anything off in order to seal your deal? So there are situations like that happen as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So Snack Packs, who's in Connecticut, snowed in. It wants to know, is it harder finding a buyer or seller when using a one-page contract? And what are most people's reactions when they see the contract? So what would you say, you're not dealing with a really motivated seller if they're analyzing it like that?
Well, most people, if they own a piece of real estate, they've been through a real estate transaction. Not always, but in most cases, a contract was the initiating part of the deal, right? And trust me, they just don't go together. Now, you can always have unreasonable people, right? They're just always. If I got 10 people, if I got 10 motivated sellers, 0.25 of them, I ain't say a whole one, a 0.25 of them may be unreasonable. So we agree on a price. I know it works for me. Obviously, it works for them. Okay, what's your email address? I'm gonna send you a contract. Trust me, it's no big deal or whatever. The reason that it's one page is so it's not intimidating, right? That's the whole purpose of it being one page. So it's not intimidating, not a 13, 14, 15 page contract that an agent will rip out. You know what I'm saying? What the hell know what all that stuff is?
Right. And that's more the long, no one likes paperwork. So the longer the contract, there's more fluff and things in that contract that you may miss, and now you done opt yourself into. So the least amount of a contract or the one pager, you can read that all the way through and know exactly what you're opting into. Versus you had a 13-page realtor contract that is very lengthy. You don't know what you're really opting into, or you may not take the time out to read all of those pages. So people really do like a one pager, two pager, and the simplicity of a simple contract.
Oh yeah.
So I haven't seen it in a while, but I'm gonna ask it because that's what we're here for. I ask the questions, y'all answer the questions, and really nobody joined us on Flippinar.com. Like,
nobody want to go live?
Man, nobody wanted to let me eat my plate in peace over here. Like I just kidding. Not really. But so Be Static and Mari Kamana. So we're talking about wholesaling. How does that relate to condos? How does it relate to mobile homes? And how does it relate to commercial properties? So I'm just bundling up 3 questions that I've seen. So basically, can you wholesale condos? Can you wholesale mobile homes? Can you wholesale commercial properties? Are they the same? Is it the same process, same contracts, all that good stuff?
That's a good question. You can wholesale all of that. Absolutely. Every one of them are different processes though. The mobile home, I think Ty, talk about this a lot. The mobile home is not really a contract. It's a contract, but it's more like buying and selling a car. Or whatever the case may be. So that closing would be totally different from if you was buying and selling a real residential property. From my understanding, you don't really have to go through attorney to buy and sell a mobile home. It's like selling a car. And you get in the title to that mobile home. When it comes to commercial, yes, you can wholesale commercial. But the valuation is a little bit different on commercial. And as well, The earnest money is different. You know, you're talking millions of dollars. You're talking a minimum of $50,000 to $100,000 earnest money. The evaluation is different, and both parties are usually sophisticated. So you're not dealing with an unsophisticated homeowner who really don't know what their property is worth. You know, don't know their numbers. All parties gonna know their numbers. The seller's gonna know his numbers, and the buyer's gonna know their numbers. You're just dealing with another crowd when it gets to the more commercial. What's the other one?
Condos.
Actually, condos is no different from a single family. You can buy and sell condos. The key about condos is that the HOA must be up to date. So we'll ask for, usually you'll ask for, or the closing attorney will ask for a homeowner association payoff letter. And that payoff letter, if they are have any back homeowner association fees, it has to be paid at the closing table. So that's not the only thing that's a little bit different from a single family, is that they're going to ask for the HOA payoff letter, but it's the same process. What do you say?
Oh, you nailed it.
Awesome. Wow, that was pretty good. See, that's what we're here for. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Ty, shooting this one to you. This is Chris Goldie. When doing a text campaign, what's the forwarding number? Is it my cell?
Well, it can be. I don't advise that it be, but it can be. I use there's a lot of services out there that will give you multiple phone numbers. I use Bumber.com. That's like the word number with the N. Just replace the N with a V as in Victor. Bumber.com, and it'll give you options to use those numbers for different local areas, and you can forward that number to your cell phone number. And you can also place calls through it. You can text message, you can record your calls and conversations. It does a lot of different things. So that's what I would recommend that you do, or a service like that or whatever. So.
All right. So this is the opportunity for us to do a hand clamp, shout out, fist bump for Nita P. Nita P says wholesaling is fun and keeps her pockets full.
Oh.
She got a $30,000 assignment right now in
escrow for the
bill, so she can go get her.
Yeah, that's that 2021 energy.
That's Nita P, and she's in Memphis, Tennessee.
Nita P.
Okay, congratulations. That's moved all year.
Sled, we getting us some snow dogs.
We making 30K. We making 30K in one transaction. This is the move that we on right now. You know, we making whole salaries in one transaction. Congratulations, Queen. I like that. I like that.
Go Nita P. Congrats on the bag. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Nita, if you're interested in sharing your story or want to tell us about that deal, I'm not too shy. Just reach out to Ty. We'd love to hear the positive stories about how wholesaling is working out for you guys. It's encouragement. It really is. It's encouragement for those who are trying. And it's not that they're not trying hard enough. It's just something just hasn't clicked. Sometimes it's just something. It's not the bandit signs, it's not the calling, it's life, it's just something hasn't clicked. But I promise if you just hang on just a little bit, it can, and this does work. We have testimonials right here every day. Like I mentioned earlier, Philly wouldn't be requiring a license if people weren't making money. They want their hands on some of it, and that's just what it boils down to. Ty says it all the time. If you're paying taxes, that's a positive problem. That's a good problem to have, because that means you got money that you're making. So guys, Nita P, if you want to share that story, just reach out to Ty. Marco, you're more than welcome. He says, thank you, Flipman, Rennie, and Adria. Yes, I don't do much, but I'm here.
No, you control the narrative. I mean, we need you.
Okay, what does that come from, Ty?
What, that?
Yeah.
I might be ugly. I'm here.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, okay.
I might be black. I might be ugly, but I'm here.
Absolutely.
You're in my movie quote guru. You're supposed to help me out when I get stuff like that. Okay, so Nick Floyd, you have a question. You've put it in there quite a few times, but I'm not understanding. So I'm gonna read it and maybe we can decipher it. It says, please help. I cannot hold on. Tell your peoples that you're busy. Okay, no. So Nick Floyd says, please help. I cannot the updated contact info for the owner of these properties, please help. So maybe he cannot find the updated info for property owner. So what do we use? It's in there. It's kind of skip tracing. We've talked about that a little bit. Ty, wait.
What?
I can't do it. There you go.
Yeah, just go to YouTube, do a search for Flip Man, Skip the Flip. I have it on if he's on YouTube, he should be able to see the name there. Skip the Flip is one word. Just use the actual number 2 between the P and the F.
Okay. So Nick Floyd, that helps you out. This is a question from TikTok, and it's from Little Stepper 4. Can you do a video can you do a video on bird dogging or explain it to me now, please? So I think bird dogging is just that baby step.
I got a simple way of explaining my definition of bird dogging.
Okay.
You're doing everything we're talking about as a wholesaler except putting it on the contract.
Exactly.
The deal, negotiating the deal, don't put it on the contract.
Exactly. That's it.
So why not wholesale? Now again, hey, send it over.
The bird dog get a referral fee.
That's my definition of a bird dog. Now some people, they'll just pay you to go out and find vacant houses, right? Just the address. They may pay you $5 a house or something like that. That's not my definition. I'm just telling you my definition. Everything I talk about as far as wholesaling, finding deals, negotiating, knowing what a great deal is, you just didn't put it in the contract. You turn it over to me. I give you 500, 1,000, maybe 1,500. I make 15,000. Hey, you want to do that? I'll do that every day. Every day. If you're good at that, every day.
Why they make the upside of it?
Yeah.
You might as well put it in the contract.
You want to make 5% of what I make? I'll do it every day.
Every day, all day. Bird dogging, and it's a bird dogging concept. I think it's a hunter concept where they throw a frisbee out there or something, and the dog go get it, and the dog brings the frisbee back to the person that throws. And that's basically what you're doing. You go out there finding a good house, and you just giving it back, or passing it to the end buyer.
They got bird dog jeans now. It's a
jean. You just get a house for the end buyer. That's it.
That's why that domain name is not better. Bird Dog Jeans got it. Birddog.com.
Oh my gosh.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
So complete your transaction, put your house on the contract, put your earnest money up so you can make all of your assignments.
Stop being scared. Just bring it out here, man.
Exactly.
Okay. Shelby says, if you're dealing with properties that have liens and are up for auction in 2 to 3 days away from being auctioned, is it worth reaching out to the resident to see if they can sell in that short time frame?
You can almost stop a foreclosure. It really depends. You gotta maybe a few days before the auction date. But you have a few days before the auction day to stop a foreclosure or stop that tax lien. But at the end of the day, do what you got to do up to the date of. If the homeowner can call down to the county and pay it, maybe they can stop it. Every county is different about who and things of that nature. But in certain banks, you got a couple days before it hits that foreclosure step.
Yeah, you may have somebody filling customer services.
Yeah, exactly. Want to help you out.
I'm saying, hey.
Take it off the tax list and allow you to come back and do what you need to do. So that's going to be really relationship driven.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So refresh this. We talked about it at the very beginning, but just refresh. Okay. When you're JVing and they have the properties and you have the buyer, how do you fill that out again?
Okay. It's multiple ways you can do this. Because that's just all it is co-wholesaling. You do it all day. So in co-wholesaling, you can either split your assignment fee and whatever we make, and whatever we make, we can split it 50-50. Or you could say, which I like to do most of, you can say, well, what do you want for your property, or what do you want for your contract? And they say $50,000. Anything on top of that 50,000, you can go flip that out at 75,000. That's your entire fee. So it's you either put it on the contract with that wholesaler and assign that your contract to your end buyer and make your own upside, or you can get with the wholesaler and say, hey, let's just split our fee 50-50, or whatever the case may be. So and if you do it 50-50, I do encourage you to do some type of agreement on the side, detailing, and make sure everybody sign off on. You may even want to get it notarized, because people get it look funny when they have to pay you. But you may want to get it notarized and things of that nature. But I will always send that document to the closing attorney as well. So if the closing attorney can split that payment at the closing table, then that's preferable. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they'll just give it to the one of the buyers, and that one buyer must split it with both buyers. So it's all negotiable. But those are the two ways that I'll use it with co-wholesaler, wholesaler.
All right. Lanisa, hopefully that answered your question. Now, here you go, guys. Ty has mentioned this before, and sometimes you just got to pay these folks. Just pay them. Okay, we're talking about squatters or tenants. So Naomi says tenants won't let the owner nor the buyer access the property that he has under contract. How do I go about this? This is a hot deal. So I would say, so what's a hot deal first and foremost? But we're just going to throw some numbers out there. Say this is a deal that you're about to make. We'll say 10 grand on. How feasible is it to say, look, y'all got to get up out of here. I'll give you $1,000 move, like right now on site. Like, can you be out by the end of the week? I'll help you find somewhere else, but you got to get up out of here. Or how would that even work?
That's a good. I mean, that's a real scenario. Tenants be over controlling stuff a lot. But when you got a tenant like that, they don't want you to enter their property multiple times. So you have to figure that one or two times you're able to enter that property, you have to have your invite, you have to have your whole game together. Or you have to go in there and make sure you really do your videos and your pictures so you can send that to your end buyer, because an irate tenant like that will after one or two, they don't want to see a whole bunch of, you're not tracking a whole bunch of different end buyers in there. So you have to take advantage of the one or two times that you have. I never did that, however, but once you close on the property, you can give them a 30-day notice to vacate or 60-day notice to vacate and things of that nature. But pay to play. That's Gator. When you think about it, they're not saying move, but hey, I'm just throw you a little money, just my appreciation for you allowing me to access your property. I actually done that. I've done that a few times with a couple older people. You know how older, they get stuck in their ways and things. So, I slid them a little Visa card and brought them some lunch a couple times so I can enter their property and end up being really good friends with them at the end of the day. So sometimes you just gotta figure those things out. But when that tenant is like that, you want to maximize them one or two times you can get into that property.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're probably just gonna have to pay them to leave. It's really that simple, man. You maybe send them something FedEx or UPS and try to be nice and let them know at the end of the day, you don't have to leave. Why not get paid to leave or whatever? You know what I'm saying? So, the more attractive the deal is, just have to just stay on it or whatever. So, and then sometimes if it's really, really a good deal, you may have a buyer that say, hey, y'all take it on. I'll get them out of there. It's worth it. You know what I'm saying? So, but that can be a negotiating tool for you as the wholesaler with the owner, is that, hey man, what I'm saying, I know you want this price, but we need to have a squatter's price, as I think we've said before. You know what I'm saying? So again, you use that to your advantage, for real. So yeah.
All right, thank you guys for answering that. Now, all right, Tom Rennie, we got somebody that's going to stray off the beaten path for the bandit signs and wants to know if they should get signs that say, I buy ASSE out houses. Just something to stand out.
What?
How about what?
I buy assed out houses.
Oh.
How about
I mean,
what do you mean asked out?
You'll get some attention.
You definitely gonna get some attention.
You get attention. That's different.
But stick to what works. I mean, not saying that won't work, but you know, we buy.
People brought this card because it's just different and it's kind of cute, funny. But hey, it's trial and error.
So yeah, Vincent, let us know how that works out for you. You might turn the deal off of it, and that's all that matters. So Phalo Force, you wanted to know what state this live is from, and we're bringing this to you live from Bama, ALABA, Alabama. That's where we are. You said state, not city, so
Birmingham.
Guys, dog it. See, devote too much information. I answered the question. That's it. Okay, guys. So strolling through here, I think we've answered quite a few of these questions. And some of these have been doubled down. But before we go, I did promise them. Oh, Ty, they said they went to Flippinar and it routed them back to YouTube.
Oh, it did? Oh, I put the wrong one in. My bad.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Oh, no.
That's why we ain't getting.
Oh, it's over with. Show about over with.
It wasn't me, y'all.
I'm like, that's kind of not normal. At least one or two people.
Not.
Oh.
It wasn't me, y'all.
Oh.
Okay. So snack packs. You asked for videos, a video or videos recommended on YouTube for first time flipping. Really? I'm supposed to really. There's over 500 plus videos available to you to watch and learn on YouTube from Ty the Flipman. All the information you need to begin your wholesaling career free of charge. YouTube it. YouTube University.
YouTube is your friend.
YouTube is your friend. Okay, before we close out, Rennie, how can the peoples get in touch with you? And why would they?
Thank you. As always, I'm super honored to be a part of the Flipman Show and bring my financing services to the table. But if you want to leverage your credit or you want to take your real estate game to the next level and begin to do your fix and flip or buy and hold, or you may want to develop and build new construction, go to fundmynextdeal.com. We have many funding options there where you will be able to take advantage of your backyard and really begin to build wealth and generational wealth for you and your family. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or email me at funding@fkfinancials.com.
All right, there you have it, guys. Snack packs. No such thing as a stupid question. Only stupid question is the question that was not asked. So just go to YouTube, search for Flipman or Ty the Flipman, and all of those videos should pop up for you. Be static and creative control. Ask about PropStream. That's Dealulator. Ty is affiliated with PropStream, aka Dealulator.com. Go to that site. You can get access to the one-page contract that he's been using. You can also submit deals that you think are deals to Ty. They can be evaluated and possibly partner with him on those. There's some rules to those deals that you submit, so make sure you read through that. And you also have the 7-day trial period to use Dealulator.com to see if it's a tool that you want to add to your wholesaling tool chest. It is a paid subscription service, but I think the guys on here that use it and have been using it, you can look in just probably Google search how awesome Dealulator is. It's something that you would want to add if you're serious about this wholesaling game.
Absolutely.
Yes. Ty, any additions?
Got to see new CRM available now. You can tap the link in the description of this video or just simply go to dealulator.com and select that particular option, or you can YouTube search Flipman CRM, and that video will explain. Just make sure if you have a property under contract, you can't find a buyer for it, or not sure about that part of the process, you can partner with me 50-50 on that and submit it through dealulator.com. It needs to be these 4 things, though. It needs to be under contract. You're dealing directly with the owner. It's off market, and it's a great deal. My definition of off market, if I Google the address, it's not advertised anywhere on the internet. So we really appreciate everyone participating tonight. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been here. So tomorrow we should be doing the lives on all the same platforms around, I guess, 12-ish or so Eastern. So you can join us and ask more questions on, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and the like. So again, we appreciate everyone showing up, and we will see you guys on the flip side.
Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash.